Today, we're looking at some city management and a shortage of black dye. So as you can see, I've done most of the city building for this episode already, just because I don't want to focus on it. I want to focus on that little hill right there this episode. We're going to be building a manor house, and I've collected all the resources already because it's mostly made of what I already had in the storage room. But before we can start building, I want to get rid of some of this terrain. So let's get to it. I immediately started building on the main section of the manor, and we're just gonna make it a large L-shaped building using some bricks, and just to accentuate the corners we're going to use some gray tinted blocks. The walls are in. They're pretty cool. I already like the fact that there's plenty of depth in them. We do not look at the back of the build, not yet that is. But before I tackle the roof, I want to get the walls of the other buildings in first. I want to get this one over here, which is going to be some kind of, I don't want to call it a chapel because it's nothing to do with religion or stuff, but just a place where they can pray for good weather on the seas. Then this is going to be our good old fashioned storage space and some stables over here. But yeah, as I said, we're going to tackle the walls first, and then we'll see what we can do for a roof. And now let's get some roofs in. So the roofs are going to be a lot darker than what we've been doing already. Instead of the teal color, I'm going for a lot of dark purplish colors. So the base will be this blue terracotta, and then we'll mix in some cherry wood and some polished black stone as well. The roofs have been put in. Again, as I said, mostly the blue terracotta, but I do like the texturing with the purple hue of the cherry wood. And then for the towers, I simply added in some deep slate as well. As you might have noticed, I also added in a simple wall around the premise, which just connects up all the buildings from the outside without being too impressive. For now though, we have to work on this thing. For now we have a lot of grass, which I want to be a bit more tailored. So let's take away some of it and make something nice out of it. Now I want something very extra, something that seems a bit out of place, as if it comes from a different country. And I think this is the exact spot for it. Perfect. I love it. It's so out of place. It's so fancy. It looks like it doesn't even belong in this world. And that's why it's perfect. I found this design on Pinterest. I do not know who the original poster is because I found it a couple of times. But I'll put a link in the description below of the first link that I found. And now we just have to build around it. It's alone. I kind of want to put some trees behind it or anything. Let's get some flower pens mapped out, make sure that we are good, and then we'll put in some foliage. So far, so good. I quite like it. I quite like the pink vibe that everything has. The trees still have to go in. I think I'm gonna put those in last because I don't want them to be obstructing anything that I don't want to be obstructed. This little place over here needs some work. I kind of want to add a little chest table and like a little just like lounging area. And then we need to do something about this thing. And I think that does it. I've put in the trees. I've also added a bit more of a hedge below it. Added some grass. But most of all, we have a new little wagon. They can span some horses in front of it. They can take a seat in their wagon and just drive out of here. But I think, just for the exterior wise, that we're good. And so let's go to the outside of the wall and clean it up a bit. So right off the bat, I started working with some water, just coming out of the stone wall that we have and just going wherever it wants to go. Then I had the great idea to make this big oak tree in the middle of the little landscape that we're doing, just so it can house some people, add some shade to the city or town that we're building. And then we'll put some foliage around it, make it so that people can hang out in this place if they wanted to. That's it. That's the garden. I really like it. So from our fountain, our water comes out through this waterfall into this pond right here. Then with this little stream, it goes down into another pond, and then that with its own little stream goes out into the river delta. I added some benches along here so that people can watch the ships go back and forward over the delta. And then over here we have a little, I really wouldn't call it a park, but it's more of like, I don't know, some greenery. I really like this oak tree. Let me get a better view of it. I like this oak tree because it's not just simple top heavy, it really grows from the bottom out and it comes a bit more green towards the top. I have some red flowers, mix of poppies and tulips, and then I have this cool picnic bench. I really like it. The hanging signs are perfect as like the legs of the table. Now there's one more thing that we have to tackle, and that's the shortage of black dye that I have. And I found this design by Razeworks for a witherrose farm in the end dimension. I'm gonna gather up some materials. It's not too much, but I do have to spend a couple of hours in the nether just running to a fortress so I can get a couple more wither heads. After getting the skulls, I started building. The farm itself is pretty easy to build. The only finicky thing that you have to do is get the wither in place and just make sure that he doesn't kill your chicken. But after getting that all set up, the rest of the farm is a piece of cake. Alright, and with the fruits... And with that finished up, I think I'll end the video right here. I really enjoyed it, and if you also did enjoy it, please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!